If you've watched any videos in 2024 from Wolfden, Retro Game Core, or any other retro gaming channel, you know there is no shortage of retro handheld console releases. It seems every other week a new one is being announced or released. I have several retro handheld emulators, but no matter what, I tend to fall back to playing everything either on Nintendo Switch Online if it's available, or my Steam Deck if it isn't. But what if I wanted to play my retro games on a device that was actually pocketable? Yeah, I'm 40 and I wear skinny jeans. I'll wear skinny jeans till the day I die. I'll kick your ass in these girl jeans, but all right, so this is the Miyoo A30. It's one of the new devices that Miyoo came out in 2024, and I've been seeing it all over my feed. Everyone's buying this, everyone's reviewing it, everyone's talking about what's going on with this little tiny NES controller looking handheld emulator system. And I've narrowed it down to two main reasons why I'm seeing this device everywhere right now. But first, what is this? Because it came out earlier this year. The Miyoo A30, it's a budget handheld emulator. It has a plastic body. It's very light. Only has a 2600 milliamp hour battery. It has an all-winner A33 CPU. Nothing crazy. Some things that I do like about it, the form factor, it's Miyoo's only horizontal device. The buttons are really nice. They're big buttons for how small the device is. There is an analog stick. It's a straight Joy-Con style analog stick, but what's cool is that it's completely recessed. And so it sticks out almost exactly the same amount as the D-pad, but you don't lose any usability with it. It feels really good. And for such a small device, it's really comfortable to use. And I have big hands and I don't like small devices typically, but this thing is great for short sessions. It's been a really nice device to just throw in my pocket. Now, when this came out, it got blasted pretty hard, and for good reason. The stock firmware and setup, mine came with a 64 gigabyte SD card loaded with random ROMs. It's not optimized. I was having slowdown with Genesis and SNES games. Even though it ran PlayStation 1 games perfectly, there was just a lot to be desired. The software was all right, but nothing special. And when it launched, it was $55 or $60. It wasn't the best device at that price point. And so I understand it kind of got lost. But what I love the styling of it. I love the size. I love the buttons. I love how portable it is. So there's a lot of things to love. It was mostly the software that was the problem. And they have a bunch of different colors. They have a Famicom color with the gold and red, which I almost got, but I kind of like the NES style. It just looks like an NES controller with a screen in the middle. So it comes with a sweet little case. Like I said, the 64 gigabyte card, USB-C to headphone adapter. The only problem is the audio is only mono, which is annoying. You don't get stereo sound. The USB-C cable, the booklet. It's a 640 by 480 4x3 screen, which one of my pet peeves is the retro handhelds with 16 by 9 displays drive me nuts because it's pointless. I love that it's a 4x3 screen. It looks great. There's a lot of complaints about the screen being really dim. I think it's fine. I mean, I'm not going to be going out in direct sunlight playing this thing. And so maybe if that's where you mainly play, but I mean, I'm usually going to be at the DMV or on public transport or something where I can see it perfectly fine. That said, when it launched, it was kind of a middle of the road type of device.
Shows that sent it in with our buddy DJ Glasser stopping by here in about 15 minutes or so.
By the way, I am Tynology. This is the Tynology gaming YouTube channel. I have a lot of videos coming up. I had companies reaching out to me, companies that are making emulators, hardware companies, controllers, and I'm kind of just saying yes, I'll review this stuff. And so I have a lot of stuff coming in. So if you want to see those videos coming out soon, be sure to subscribe. Before you go comment asking where you can get this sweatshirt, watch till the end of the video and I'll let you know. Also, there's a giveaway at the end of the video. So 2 reasons to watch till the end of the video. Great to have you here. Now, if you've been following along in the retro handheld scene, you know that there's been a lot of devices that have been coming out lately. A lot. And I think it's good. I think the more competition, the better. It's driving prices down. It's driving quality up. There's a lot more people reviewing them. This device, I think, just kind of got lost in the mix earlier this year with everything that was coming out. Miyoo also has a clamshell device, but I haven't got my hands on that one yet. And so let's get into why this thing has blown up recently. Number one, the device launched at 55 or 60 bucks when it came out. Now you can easily find it for around $30, sometimes cheaper on sale. That's huge. I can't think of a device that can play everything up through PS1. I haven't found a PS1 game that doesn't run at full speed with some tweaks that we'll talk about. And so I think that's the number one reason. There are two amazing front end, I guess you would call them mods for this. They're not full custom firmware like some other devices, but they take the stock firmware and enhance it visually and performance wise to optimize the experience on this. The first one is MinUI. When I first saw MinUI, I was like, oh, it's really slimmed down, really optimized, really fast. It removes a bunch of features. So this device has Wi-Fi, but MinUI doesn't access the Wi-Fi. And so you lose stuff like retro achievements. You can't update over Wi-Fi. But as soon as I got MinUI on here, I really liked it. It's really snappy. It's really clean. Everything just works. It doesn't use RetroArch for the emulators. It uses Flatpak style emulators, and they run great. They run better than the stock, that's for sure. And so like the slowdown I was getting with Genesis and SNES wasn't getting it with MinUI. PS1 still ran fantastic. One of the coolest things is there's a shortcut where if you push select and home, it will swap between integer scaling, full screen, and maximize the size, whatever that's called. That's really cool. I like you can reprogram all the buttons inside of each of the emulators. You can reprogram hotkeys for fast forwarding, save states. I love the menu. It's really well packaged. And so if you're buying this as a gift, MinUI is great for that. The other thing is you're kind of limited on the consoles. No Dreamcast, no N64. And so that's a drawback, but highly recommend MinUI for the performance and the ease of use and the speed. The other front end that has been released is called Spruce. And the setup of Spruce is, both of these are really easy. You just basically drag files onto your SD card, put your ROMs, put your BIOS, and you're good to go. But the setup for Spruce was a little bit longer because you can scrape box art, which is really cool to see in your menu. It's a much more robust feature set in Spruce, and it feels a little more like the native operating system, just spruced up. It still has Wi-Fi. You can update the firmware wirelessly, which is nice. This one still uses RetroArch to play games. And so because it has Wi-Fi, you can use SyncThing to sync your game saves if you have multiple devices. The other cool thing is you can customize the boot screen for the device. It also has this really neat thing called Game Switcher, where if you hold the home button while you're in a game, it'll save that game where it is. And then you can go back to the menu and pick another game. And if you hold the home button in that game, it'll save that state. And you can just swap between the games, like multitasking. And that's a really neat feature for it to have. The setup is really simple. I'm gonna link Russ from Retro Game Core's video explaining how to install these, because he goes into great detail and gives some tips and tricks, which is great. Hold on, let me play for a second. Leave me alone. I was just confirming this. Oh, get off. Okay. Just making sure. The performance on both MinUI and Spruce is miles better than the stock experience. So if you buy this, put one of these on it. It's so easy and you'll get a much better experience. Performance-wise, user interface, user experience-wise, feature-wise, across the board. The people who are behind them are geniuses, and I love them. Thank you for everything that you do. You make this world a better place. Now, the device isn't perfect. It's $30. It's plastic, it's light, it's cheap. What is great is I feel like I can just give this to my kids. It's not like giving them a Switch, which they've destroyed. And they love it. They get a kick out of these old games. Again, I'll mention the dim screen not a big deal. Battery life isn't great, but it auto shuts off. It'll go to sleep, auto shut off, which prolongs the battery life. My big thing is it has the ability to run Dreamcast games, but it's not there. I can't get anything to run at full speed. You get the audio choppiness, the drop frames. It runs at like 70%. That's just not acceptable, but it's so close. It's just out of reach, which drives me crazy, especially since this is my outfit for this video. Oh man, I wish, especially with the single analog stick, it's perfect. This is like a perfect little mini Dreamcast handheld. And so I would recommend everything up through PS1 runs great. Anything that can run the next generation, you're jumping up in price massively. You're looking at $150, $200 minimum. And so there's a giant leap from this to be able to access the next generation. Now the price does fluctuate. So down in the description, I linked the actual listing that I bought and also the one that is best priced right now. I linked the official Miyoo store on AliExpress too. Sometimes they have the best price. So after everything that you've seen, which front end do you think you would go with? So the big announcement, I referenced it last video, is I've been behind the scenes working on a storefront. I used to own a merchandise company. I used to be in a band that we sold tons of merchandise I would design. And so I designed this hoodie. It is the US patent for the Dreamcast and the controllers and the VMU. And on the back is the entire schematic of the Dreamcast system. It's an all-over print, this balayage fade from Dreamcast orange to white, and it looks cool. Man, it's such a cool hoodie. But the online store is not quite open. So if you go to shop.tynology.com, put in your email address there, and when the store launches, you'll get notified. But also, I'm going to pick one person from the list of people who put in their email addresses there, and I'm going to give away one thing that they want from the store, and it's on me. And so be sure to put it in your email. These will be live soon, but stock will be limited. I'm just finishing up a few more designs before I launch. I'm shooting for February. I'll leave a link in the description also. Be sure to check that out. Put in your email address, win an item of your choice. And with that, I bid you farewell. I will see you soon. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. I will see you on the flip side. Cheers.